¿Qué pasa, mi gente? Welcome to another video. I brought some tea because we're going to talk some tea today. So you saw the thumbnail, you saw the title, and I don't want to make this video about whether if Akaash and his wife are right or wrong. I want this video mainly to be centered around whether if you should be making your personal life part of your content strategy and why most creators can't afford that overall. So just a 10 to 20 second recap. In the past couple weeks, if you've literally been watching this, like it's literally been on my For You page, it's been everywhere, like on Discovery page, everywhere, like on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, it doesn't matter. It seems as if Akaash and Jazleen, they're going through a little situation right now. They're going through a little skirmish, if you will, about all the stuff that she said in the past about her relationship or all the things they've done together, with conflicting narratives about her past, of her being a virgin, about her having a wild face, you know, popping pee in the clubs with some white boys. It doesn't matter. The red pill space, you know, is literally just having a field day with these comments overall. But I mainly want to talk about the fact how this is all affecting not only their own personal strategy, like for their content, and then on top of that, their personal branding overall. In the short term, it's amazing because they're going viral, right? But here I have literally a list of lessons and things, and you should take into consideration if you choose to put your personal life out to social media, and what might happen if that's the case, because this will literally continuously happen over and over again, no matter who you are, no matter what person it is, no matter what career you have. You just have to be careful with putting your stuff online. Anyway, lesson number one. You gotta know who you're really talking to, okay? First of all, Jazleen, she gets on this podcast, right, with her friend, apparently, and they're talking about stuff that they used to do in the past, which is already red flag number one, first of all, for Akaash and for Jasleen's personal brand overall. And they're doing it in the style of call her daddy, like in the sense of like, you know, talking about really gross stuff, like, you know, talking about their what they used to do in the past, etc., etc., etc. But they don't necessarily realize that within their own audience, they have comedy fans, they have a Desi diaspora audience, if that makes sense, and more conservative towards cultural segments, right? Those people that are essentially watching them is basically like, if your audience doesn't share your sense of humor or values, your jokes become a bit more of damage to your brand. Like, say for example, like any Indian person or Desi person, and those people are watching you, you know for a fact that those people are going to have something to say about your relationship or anything. I'll tell you straight up, within the machismo realm, for Hispanics and stuff like that, if I literally post something about not being in my masculine role, at least with my wife, online, holy crap, that's gonna get flagged 24/7, you know what I'm saying? So you gotta be really careful what you put online. And I don't even know if it's true, like all the stuff that people are alleging, but the point is that people are literally going off of it and they're eating it up because it is controversy. And there's nothing wrong with controversy, but if you're doing controversy at the expense of your personal life, that is never a good thing, right? So just take it into consideration. Lesson two, oversharing without a frame is essentially ammo for everyone else. Jasleen's intimate stories and money, like all this, or at least the stuff that she talks about money, it might work in a very specific niche, in a very specific context, but clipped out, they look brutal. Like literally any of the stuff that is being said by her, like verbatim, is being used against her and her husband by all these red pill people. Which is absolutely interesting, because I'm just like, they can't catch a break, you know what I'm saying? And for creators, if you do that on a consistent basis, you make yourself vulnerable, right? You want to make sure that you have a clear purpose with your content, being to teach, inspire, normalize, not just shock and awe, because at the end of the day, if you continuously shock people, you're going to say stuff that you don't mean, and on top of that, people are going to think you're disingenuous, so you don't want to do that. You want to make sure that everything in your life, everything that you put online, will be clipped eventually and reposted by people who hate you. So take that into consideration when you say something online. Sure, you can literally be any type of version that I literally explain on this channel, being convicted about the things that you want to share online. That's true. But if you didn't want that 30 seconds to represent you and your entire brand, then don't freaking say it. Especially if it's personal things about you and your husband. Lesson 3, couples content is shared brand risk. So what do I mean that? So like the moment your partner goes viral for some controversy or something that has to do with y'all's past or as part, just to be part of the content machines, they're essentially their words, their jokes, their trauma, their opinions will literally be at the expense of your own brand. Let's say you're Jasleen and like Akaash was saying something like about him with his relationship with his wife and is super controversial just to be controversial, or maybe just to be funny or this, that, and whatever. It's just that's gonna bite Jasleen in the butt. In this case, it's Jasleen towards Akaash, but in the sense, it's like you don't want to drag your partners into content just for the engagement if you're not ready to. Because at the end of the day, it really goes to show that saying that where you just like you consult in private and you lift up in public. I think that's the term. It's like you want to make sure that everybody sees that you put your person up, because those private conversations of the stuff that wouldn't necessarily be advisable to put online, they should be had outside of content, like offline, if that makes sense. And you want to make sure that every single piece of content that your partner puts out, you stand by, and you won't deal with some sort of blowback from anything. And you want to make sure that you protect your relationship offline by demonstrating the qualities that you do want to share online. And if you're both content creators, then you might as well take into consideration, hey, this would be a good opportunity to share these specific things. Of these other things that we talk about in our normal lives with our friends or family, we don't share those online. And having that conversation initially. So couples content is shared brand risk, if that makes sense. Now, lesson 4, then crisis communication 101, okay? Please learn, if anybody wants to get into making content, or they're thinking about just going viral on a consistent basis and they want to use controversy as a tool in their toolbox, this is what you don't do. You don't necessarily fire back emotionally to the comments that are basically put on to your pages overall, because everybody's going to be a critic. Like, every person that's going to criticize you to some capacity, even if you're not going viral, even if you're not necessarily trying to provide value or educate or inspire, people are literally going to take criticism of your content either way. So the first thing you shouldn't do is respond emotionally. So don't ever do that. Not by anybody. Like, I get hate comments all the time on all my videos because people literally say whatever, but then at the end of the day, you want to make sure that when you're responding to these comments is literally like, all right, cool. Like, it doesn't own me. Like, that doesn't provide, I guess, like rage energy or like rage bait in that sense. What you can do is essentially just follow what celebrities do. They do one clear statement. They add context, they add intent, they might even put a little bit of boundaries, and that's pretty much it. In the sense of like the decision between the both of you, let's say both of y'all are content creators, so we're not going to talk about this further on camera, and that's it. And then you can go back to the core of your content essentially ASAP, right? Because at the end of the day, like, controversy is going to happen, right? Especially with people in the comedy space, or like, you know, trying to put your partner on blast, or saying the types of comments that Jasleen has been saying. It's going to happen. Controversy is going to happen, especially with a figure that is actually in the limelight, like Akaash with the Flagrant podcast and whatnot, and with comedy overall. So you want to make sure that in 2025, going into 2026, as of recording this, you want to handle a mess often and eloquently, and understand that the way you handle that mess in particular matters more than the mess itself, if that makes sense. And then lesson 5, we want to make sure that we want to build a brand on your message, not necessarily your mess. Like, a lot of people will preach like, oh, your mess becomes your message, but not at the expense of our partners. Come on, man. Like why are you out here, like, you know, making it worse for my mans? You know what I'm saying? You want to make sure that you lead with purpose into your content, because then once it gets clipped up, it's always going to be used in a positive light, right? When your entire brand becomes drama, you lose. You lose trust, you lose focus, you lose long-term opportunities because people don't want to do business with you. And if you want to make money online and build a real brand, Don't chase virality through humiliation or chaos or any of the controversial things that people do online in order to get views. Build around your message, your skills, and the problems that you solve, because you want to be the person that solves a problem for somebody else or can provide them with, I guess, an escape if you're into entertainment and whatnot, in a positive light, so that way people will continuously try to follow you, right? And a lot of people will say, oh, every exposure is good exposure, you know what I'm saying? It can be. But it's also dependent at what are we doing it at the expense of. If you're doing it at the expense of trying to get to the next level in order to develop your brand, develop the message that you're trying to get out, help people otherwise, fantastic, but not at the expense of your partner. Like, that is somebody that you literally trust, and you don't want to dunk on each other, especially if you're both content creators, right? So it's just a little reminder, like, if you're seeing all this controversial stuff and you happen to get on my video, just make sure you make the content choices today and become the people that you want to be today and represent the reputation you want tomorrow, if that makes sense. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you like the video, make sure to like and subscribe to this this channel, because I put videos out like this every single day and you don't want to miss them, about content, about personal branding, about storytelling, about filmmaking, about all this other stuff. And yeah, and if you click right here, you're gonna click on a video that YouTube told you that you should check out. And if you like the video so much, here's another video you can check out. Otherwise, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.